This is your First Alert Weather Breakdown, a deep dive into how weather works with meteorologist Evan Thomason.
Welcome on to your First Alert Weather Breakdown. I am meteorologist Evan Thomason. Welcome on to the show. Thanks again for hopping on in. It's Monday, and it's a brand new work weekend. The sun is back out, at least for some of us. Not for everybody, but we'll say I think sunshine will be back in store for everybody by the end of today. And the rest of today overall is going to be dry. Let's take advantage of that while it lasts. Because unfortunately we have, yes, still a lot of rain on the horizon. Well, Evan, we just got rid of rain. I dealt with lots of storms over the past several days. So yes, you did. Yes, you did. But, yeah, apparently we didn't deal with enough storms. We got more stormy weather. Unfortunately, back on tap for the Arklatex here later on this work week. So, yeah, a lot to get to on the First Alert Weather Breakdown. In fact, I kind of mentioned it last Friday, but I know how we usually do like exclusive content, like stuff that explains like the science behind some things. Met Chat, where we kind of go into fun weather topics and kind of do some behind the scenes footage. We do some interviews, which we actually do have one of those coming up later on this work week. But the main point of me saying this is that we usually have like a mix of all those different kinds of topics here and there on the First Alert Weather Breakdown. This week, though, we're just pretty much in severe weather mode. Today is mostly recapping severe weather that happened overnight last night. I'm going to go ahead and share that with you here for our rundown here on the First Alert Weather Breakdown. There's our handy-dandy agenda. It's just like Blue's Clues with the handy-dandy notebook. All right, so we're talking about a rainy forecast in store for today, and yes, we do have a First Alert Weather Day on Wednesday. Now, for today's exclusive content, we'll just mainly be recapping Sunday's storms. We got lots of reports in from last night about the hail in the Arklatex. For those of you that woke up to some loud pounding raindrops and some thunder, there was lots of lightning strikes with the storms that went through last night. And for a good portion of the Arklatex, it definitely did not hit everybody. That is for certain. Kind of left a gaping hole right on I-20 around Shreveport. You can blame it on this one on the Barksdale Barksdale bubble if you want. But regardless, it happened. It happened. But I will say again, a good portion of the Arklatex still got hit by some good hailstorms, especially in the southern half of the region, down towards Nacogdoches and Natchitoches. So we'll go over that for today. Tomorrow, I'll go ahead and spoil it. For tomorrow's episode, we're just going to be prepping you up for the First Alert Weather Day on Wednesday. And then we got lots and lots of severe weather coverage on Wednesday itself. We have an interview on Thursday, and we might be dealing with more severe weather coverage on Friday. Unfortunately, we got storms. Tons of stormy days ahead. Not just for Wednesday for our First Alert Weather Day, which I know is just a burden in and of itself to deal with, especially for you and me, but unfortunately, we got more wet weather and more storms coming the day after. Literally the day after, storms continue to carry on, trapped into the Arklatex here for several days. It is going to be a mess. Just so you know, I'm going to share with this. There's a hefty amount of rain in our rainfall forecast the last 7 days. I'm just going to go ahead and put that out there. Sometimes I like to get ahead of myself or like say the actual like number and get straight into forecast mode. Like we're on our news program, but we're not on a news program. We're on the First Alert Weather Breakdown, which means I can just tease to everything later and we can discuss everything in its entirety later on. In fact, I actually just reminded myself to put in the rainfall forecast here into my graphics. I'll go ahead. I have a story with that later, but essentially, I don't use the rainfall forecast actually very much in the news shows at all. I'll share with you why later, but yeah, we're gonna go. We always go over everything here in the First Alert Weather Breakdown. We go over anything and everything weather-wise with our graphics. So let's get straight into it. If I could grab control of my graphics. There we go. And remove the timestamp in the bottom right-hand corner so you can see me. Shoo. There we go. Beautiful. All right. So we're off. We're ready to go. Last little check. YouTube. Those of you on YouTube, you have any questions? You have any comments on the forecast? Let me know. Love to see it. All right. So, for those of you who've been in the first time, we're essentially going to go into our full forecast first, and then we go into our exclusive content next. So what that means is we'll do a full lengthy forecast. We'll take a quick commercial break, and then we'll do our exclusive content, which for today is recapping yesterday's storms and looking at all the reports of hail that we saw. There was some thick reports, trust me. I remember seeing some of the phrasing last night, baseball size. That is this size, by the way. Quite impressive. We'll get into that all later. But anyways, beautiful, or I was going to say beautiful look. That's what I'm used to saying. Cloudy look. Matthews Landscape and Pest Camera. Still some cloud cover lingering on from the cold front last night here around Shreveport locally. But no wet weather here locally at all, which is good news. Further up north in Texarkana, you take an hour drive north. That's where the sunshine and blue skies is. So mainly just a little bit of cloud cover left for those in the central and southern portions of the Arklatex here for the morning so far. Here's your full first alert Doppler radar. It's completely clear. You see a little shade of green, maybe north of Shreveport there. But that is ground clutter. That is ground clutter, trust me. Overall, our skies are clear of wet weather, at least for today. So, for Monday, you're starting off with cooler temperatures. We're dealing with kind of the repercussions of our cold front that came through last night again, which we'll talk about more in depth coming up later. But this is a forecast looking into the future. So, again, we're dealing with the cold temperatures behind the cold front here for the day today. You felt that with a little bit of a cooler morning, especially for those of you in East Texas and southeastern Oklahoma. And everybody's going to be feeling it for the afternoon with the high temperatures not nearly getting as warm as what they did yesterday. And then, again, sunshine's back in store here for the day today. We haven't seen that yet on our Matthews Landscape Plus camera, but I promise you that should be coming out by this afternoon. Then, heading into Wednesday. Wednesday is, again, your first alert weather day with severe storms coming back into the Arklatex. And unfortunately, with this system, it looks to be different than the rest in that storms look to be stuck here, trapped here, not moving anywhere. We'll get into the threats of that later, and we'll talk about it all coming up on our future tracks. But let's talk temperatures first here just for the time being. 64 right now in Shreveport, 67 in Natchitoches, 62 in Texarkana, still in the upper 50s up into the Queen, but I think you get the point. Most of us are chilling in the 60s on a normal summer day where we've had these highs in the 80s and 90s. These temperatures would already be in the low to mid 70s out by now. So you already kind of notice a little bit of a cooler start again to your morning overall in the Arklatex. And that's going to be true at least for today only. Tomorrow, specifically tomorrow afternoon, I'd say tomorrow morning still gets a little chilly, but tomorrow afternoon is really when our warm air warms up into this warms up our atmosphere. I'm sorry, I'm a little thrown off because our shades are little colors, that indicate like warm and cold temperatures on that graphic behind the warm and cold outlook. They always take their time like uploading, and for some reason they're always updating during the segment. I trust you when I use these segments on air, they completely work. And then when it comes first alert weather time, or first alert weather breakdown time at 10:30, these graphics just don't want to work. Also, for those of you wondering, yes, I do get to be a little more laid back on this podcast. Anyways, warm air stays with us for a bulk of the work week. It comes back here for tomorrow. It stays with us pretty much for the rest of the work week. The hottest day of the work week is going to be on Wednesday, the middle of this week. I'm not going to spoil the high temperature just yet, but we're expecting to have a hefty cool down into this weekend. In fact, this weekend, expected to be one of the coldest weekends that I've seen in quite some time. And that's saying something for the first weekend of April. All right, so for the short term, again, let's put some numbers to you. Give you some numerical digits here. 77 in Shreveport, 74 for Texarkana. I think you get the point. Highs are not really reaching 80 degrees for this afternoon, and temperatures get a little chilly for tomorrow morning as well, down into the low 50s, maybe even some of us reaching down into the upper 40s in the northern half of the region. Then, just like that, we go back on our warming trend. Highs back above 80 degrees for Tuesday and Wednesday. Again, looking to be the hottest day of the work week. And because we're on the first alert weather breakdown, the weather podcast, guess what I get to do on this future track temperatures? I get to back this up, tell you the peak of those temperatures Wednesday afternoon. Look at that. Highs in the mid to upper 80s. I would not be surprised to see a 90-degree temperature mark again. That's going to be your warmest day of the work week. And if you notice, there's a little bit of a temperature disparity there, especially for the northern half of the region there on Wednesday afternoon. That's because we're bringing in rain on that day, all thanks to yet another huge low-pressure system, which continues to plague us. Again, it's springtime. It's severe weather time. This is where we get all of our storms usually coming into the Arctic, our severe storms, that is. And this makes no difference, honestly. We have another one of these systems, again, hitting us in the middle of this week, where you have a jet stream and lots of wind out of the south, giving us warm moisture out of the Gulf of Mexico, and that's going to trigger on to some severe storms, which are affecting us in the second half of this work week. We at least have a break for today and tomorrow. Yippee for us. But again, we basically thrust ourselves back into the system, which starts on Wednesday. But one key thing to note with this system, again, this system starts on Wednesday. It's going to continue on for several days. I think that's the big difference that I'm watching out for with this system, is it looks like it stalls out. And we'll look at that in the future track in just a little bit, the long-range future track that is. But essentially, we're watching out for all severe weather threats, but especially because this is going to look to stay in place for several days. I got my eye on flash flooding. It could get ugly around here on the rain totals. We'll talk about those specifics later. All right. Let's get to a short-range future track first, which mainly just looks at the next 3 days. Again, the rest of today, we're peeling back that cloud cover, and hopefully you'll get some sunshine out for this afternoon for most areas around the Arctic. If you won't see it out by the end of the day, you'll definitely see at least a sunrise here for tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning starts off pretty, but then we get a little more cloud cover in for tomorrow, late afternoon and evening, even a straight chance of rain, actually, mainly for those along and north of I-30. And for Tuesday night, and that leads us into our first alert weather day, which is on Wednesday again, which brings scattered storms to the Arctic with a line of severe showers, which could hit anyone around the entire Arctic. If you notice, this goes all the way into Thursday morning, and there is still more storms off to our west, which are looking to come eastward, right through the Arctic. So let's get to our long-range future track. And what I did with this was mainly track the system at hand, because today it is on the west coast, giving rain showers to states like California up through Oregon and Washington. It's quickly moving eastward. Tuesday, it's in the Rocky Mountains and in most of the plains way off to our north. Then by Wednesday, it moves into our region, and then it stays stuck for about 4 days. Yeah. I'm stuck for about 4 seconds there, corresponding to 1 second was corresponding to each and every day that we're going to be stuck with this here for the second half of this work week. Look at this. Wednesday, still here. Thursday, still more scattered showers. Friday, same thing. And then Saturday, it looks like we finally have some movement to this system, but not until Saturday night. So unfortunately, if you have any weekend plans already, especially for the first half of the weekend, things don't look so good. I will say the second half of the weekend looks much better. Sunday is when we finally appear to be clearing things up around here, but that's after the damage is done. Let's talk about the damage that this thing could loom. Again, Wednesday is your KSLA News 12 first alert weather day, and this is the main reason why. When we usually get systems like this coming on through, most of them have been just giving us slight risks in the Arctic. This one is giving us an enhanced risk of severe weather across a good portion of the Arctic. That goes all the way from DeQueen and Idabel, all the way as far south as Coshada. Essentially, the only areas not underneath that enhanced risk are Natchitoches and Nacogdoches. And even then, they're still under a slight risk of severe weather. So watch out and stay weather aware with us here for the middle of this week. And it's not just that day. We could have more chance of storms, unfortunately, crawling back into the Arctic still for Thursday, too, as well. And it could get ugly. So this is the severe weather chances when it comes to usually like looking out for hail and looking out for that tornadic risk as well. But then when you get to a chance of flash flooding, this is the map I kind of like to look at. This is a new map I actually made this morning, which some of you may be unfamiliar with, but we show you here on the KSLA News 12 first with a breakdown. It is a look at the excessive rainfall risk, which is essentially taking a look at the outlook for how likely it is certain areas are to getting flash flooding, or to put that in another phrase, how prone are you and how likely are you to receive flash flooding from this day, which I just chose Friday in this case. I could have literally chosen, just so you know, any day. Most of these maps look almost similar to each other between Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, believe it or not. We have a high risk for flash flooding, and for the northern half of the Arklatex, overall, that slight risk goes as far south as I-20 by Shreveport as well. And let me tell you why. Next 7 days, this is the rainfall we're projected in the Arklatex. Overall, you see greater rain totals in the northern half of the Arklatex, but may I still pinpoint over the next 7 days, remember, we still have 4 days worth of rain, that even though the southern half has a less chance of rain, they are still getting 2 inches of rain over the next 7 days, and that is a lot. That is still a lot, even for the southern half of the Arklatex. There's areas in the northern half of the Arklatex, especially up by Texarkana, where you get as much as 5 to 8 inches of rain over the next 7 days. It is a lot coming. It starts on Wednesday, another round again on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It is going to be ugly around here. Full 7-day forecast. This is the last part of the forecast before I check YouTube for any comments and go to our next thing. First solar weather day is in effect for Wednesday again. Watch out for those severe storms. I would not be surprised to even see severe storms, the severe weather chance ramping up, especially again for Thursday. There's even a little hint of a chance for Friday or Saturday as well, especially with those same storms, again, trapped in here, into the region. It's just going to be consistent rounds coming on into the Arklatex. So stay weather aware, stay prepared. Not just Wednesday, especially Wednesday. But remember, we mentioned that chances of severe weather risk. Again, that's in store here for your Thursday as well. So next 2 days are dry. If you need to get out and do anything outdoors, especially with, mowing lawns, some gardening you need to get done, have some time outdoors while it's not raining and not completely soaked ground, even though the ground's still pretty soaked today, especially for some of you in the southern half of the Arklatex that got pounded late last night. Point is, you got 2 dry days to get stuff done outside, today and tomorrow. Even tomorrow, there's a slim chance of rain for essentially the northwest corner of the Arklatex up by Idabel, DeQueen, and Mount Pleasant, that kind of area. Most of us, though, get the storms on Wednesday, and again, it continues into Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, with finally some conditions starting to drag actually up into Sunday. Most of our 12-day forecast heading into next work week, believe it or not, is looking much better. Looking completely dry, actually. So if you're needing an extended outlook of time where you don't need your ground soaked for a moment of time, next week is actually looking a lot better and a lot more on the dry and sunny side of things. But that's next work week. Got a lot of rain to get through this week, unfortunately. Last thing I want to go over is the temperatures. Notice, I'm going to go ahead and remove myself out of the equation here. Notice the highs. First of all, a little bit of a roller coaster throughout the week. 75 today, up to 90. Yeah, that's right, the big 9-0 for a projected high on Wednesday. Then starting to cool slightly on down, especially once the bulk of the rain gets here. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And then look at our highs on Sunday. Wow, 64 degrees. That's a high temperature on the first weekend of April. That's going to be, honestly, a little bit of a chilly weekend here to start off April here for you. Notice the low temperatures. We have one more little chilly morning in the 50s here for Tuesday morning, but that looks to be the last tiny cold day here for you to start off the day. Lows will be in the 70s, at least starting off the mornings here for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, before starting to cool back down there for the weekend. All right, that was a full look at your extended forecast. That was a lot to go over. I know it took a lot of time, but hey, that's what we do on the first look with the breakdown. That's what we go over, and that's how much time we put into it. All right, for those of you wanting to get a recap of yesterday's storms, we have it for you. We have lots of hail reports to go over. I'm going to go over kind of size totals, where we found them, those kind of things, and pinpoint them all on a map for you coming up after this. So we're recapping yesterday's storms after a 2-minute commercial break. I'll see you after this. Welcome on back to the First Alert Weather Breakdown here as part of KSLA News 12. I'm meteorologist Evan Thomason. In my hand, I have the full report of the all the hail reports that came in late or early this morning, way early this morning. Also, some of them took some time to get on in, but there were so many severe thunderstorm warnings on last night due to the size of hail. My goodness. If y'all saw any hail in your front yard, let me know. That'd be a cool thing to let me know in the comments on YouTube. Or if you could kind of share maybe like the size of hail, that kind of thing, because you give us your own weather report. It'd be pretty cool. But essentially how we're going to do this is I'm going to share with you. Oh, that is the wrong button. So essentially here we have a whole map that's kind of zoomed out a little bit to kind of show you the severe weather events that were happened in the entire United States. So give me just a moment. I was setting other things up during the commercial break. There we go. So here we go. I know this is very tiny for you to see, and I wish. Hold up. Maybe there is a way to. No. There is a way. Fortunately, there is a way. I have to figure that out for another time. Anyways, I know it's a little hard to see, but if you look at all those green and blue dots, you see most of that is in southern Missouri, up into Michigan, up through Indiana. That's where the bulk of the system actually formed and actually matured. Lots of wind. All the little blue dots are wind reports. All the green dots are hail reports. Mainly shown in those areas. Believe it or not, only 4. A total of 4 tornado reports from this system so far. It is continuing to actively move eastward across the country, to be fair. But as of right now, there's only been 4 tornado reports, none of which came even close to the Arklatex. So this wasn't really a tornado maker. But if you notice, look more closely in areas of East Texas and Northwest Louisiana, we did get some hail reports there locally. Granted, again, they're not near the bulk of the line of hail and wind reports that are up north near Michigan, southern Missouri, and Indiana, but still wild regardless. So let's go over some of these reports. I got in Grant County, I got an inch of hail in that area. Also areas in Natchitoches, Red River counties. Also, an inch of hail. So let's see here. So, I mean, so many of these reports came in sporadically. Here we go. 7 miles east of Winfield. Got some hail near there that measured up to about an inch and 3/4. Wow. An inch and 3/4. Again, this is near baseball-like stuff. And the wording in the National Weather Service, they literally use the word baseball-sized hail in their description. Their official National Weather Service description. Golf ball. You think you get the point? Stuff like that. So I'm trying to scroll back. Again, these reports came in sporadically. Here we go. Around Campty in Natchitoches Parish. Hail about 1.75 inches. Again, all these hail, the storms with hail pretty much, I wouldn't say grazed the southern half of the Arklatex, but they pretty much hit the southern portion of the Arklatex. The area is south of I-20, mainly between Nacogdoches and Natchitoches. Jeez, yeah, I'm just going back on, sorry, some of the reports just coming in, again, sporadically. Let me scroll. I think I passed several. Yeah, I did. Inch of hail in Rusk County in Texas. There we go. About an inch of hail reported in Shelby County as well, near Tipson. The Rusk County hail was reported near Mount Enterprise, just so you know. Inch of hail. Here we go. This is the biggest one I've seen yet. In Powhatan. Oh, man, I'm probably butchering that name of the town. But anyways, in Natchitoches Parish, somebody got a report of 2 inches of or a 2-inch hailstone. That is incredible. Near Many, inch and 3/4 around there. That makes sense. Grant County, inch and a quarter of hail. Inch of hail in Sabine Parish as well. I know you're kind of mentioning like Grant, Natchitoches, Sabine, again, all those parishes pretty much on the southern half of that Arklatex in that area. And I believe that's all the hail reports we got. But Boy, I believe that grand winner is the 2 inches of hail. I'm actually going to click into this full report and see if it shares any other juicy details with us. It mainly just says Natchitoches Parish 2-inch hail reported in Powhatan, Louisiana. Wild. And this was brought into the National Weather Service at 8:30 in the morning. Again, most of these storms overnight, so they probably woke you up as well, especially if there's some of those people in that area. So, thankfully, again, didn't get much of a tornado or tornadic aspect from these storms at all, which is good. But boy, did the hail make some dents. And this hail, these hail-type storms lasted on for a while. I believe the first indicating of because there were several severe thunderstorm warnings that triggered late last night. I believe that started as early as, I think the earliest I saw them pop off was 7 p.m., maybe 8 o'clock at night. And the last ones that were issued were around 2, 3 in the morning. So pretty much right before the early commute hours, essentially. The early morning commute hours, so to speak. Right before people were starting to get up for more, legitimately get up for work. Right around 2 to 3 in the morning. So this lasted quite a while. Just again, some of the storms scattered around the entire southern half of the Arklatex. And just, what forms those hailstones, especially those impressive ones and those thick ones, is when you get really, really strong updrafts, indicating a really strong severe thunderstorm. So what this tells me is most of the storm focused on the hail aspect in and of itself. Because usually, you can see hail involved with a tornadic cell, yes. But in particular with this one, you just had a strong updraft which led to an equally strong downdraft, which forms those hailstones with those storms. A very, very impressive system that went through last night, especially in the southern half of the Arklatex. Wild. Guess what? We got another system on the way again on Wednesday. We're going to prep you up for that tomorrow, a lot more in depth. I did a good... we went over the forecast, obviously, a lot here for the day today again, which I'm proud of. But especially as we get closer into the date, and tomorrow will be 1 day away from the first alert weather day on Wednesday. I'm essentially just going to be... Jeez, I did not mean to do that. I just want to go over the... first alert weather day details for Wednesday tomorrow. We're just going to give you the full forecast, answer any questions you have, and get you all prepped up here for the middle of this week. And it's going to be a lot to get through. Again, not just for the first alert weather day on Wednesday, but all the storms we got to get through on Thursday and Friday and Saturday, too, for the weekend. Yikes. We'll get through it. Enjoy today and tomorrow. I surely am going to do that while... radar's quiet, essentially. You should too. Make the most of it. Get out there and enjoy the day, especially while you can. All right. That's the end of the first alert weather breakdown. Again, I'll see you tomorrow, 10:30. We'll prep you up for your first alert weather day. Be there. Be square. Most importantly, be weather aware. Have a great rest of your Monday. And again, I'll see you tomorrow on Tuesday to prep up your first alert weather day on Wednesday. Make sure you're weather aware here with us at KSLA News 12 for the second half of this work week. You have a great rest of your day. Peace out.